Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel today. Hope you guys are getting ready to have a happy New Year's here, and hope you guys have a great holiday season here. Today, as you can see, we're going to be reviewing the Xbox Series X console in 2025, giving you kind of just my thoughts on the overall console, what it's like, and giving you my opinion on in 2025, is this a good pickup? Is this a good pickup in general? And just giving my thoughts and review of the Xbox Series X, the infamous mini fridge console right here. This is the console itself. As you can see, it's basically just a big, brick or tall rectangle, got a mini fridge looking thing. It's pretty discreet. This right here is the box. It comes in pretty large box here. Just some specs and stuff on the side and kind of showing off the console, of course. It comes with that, the power brick and connector there for the console. Or it's not a power brick anymore; it's just a connection to the AC port. The HDMI to plug it into your TV, obviously the console, and then a single standard Xbox controller. That's what you get in the box with it. I like the box. It's pretty nice design, pretty good unboxing. Unfortunately, I had this a while ago when I wasn't really on active on YouTube anymore. Would have been a good unboxing. Some of those may be coming soon, but regardless, I like the kind of overall feel and design of the box. And then, yeah, the console itself comes with it. As far as, I guess, what to jump into first here, I think it's important to kind of go over the tech and specs of it, obviously. It is a powerful console. This is, I don't want to say pro because I think it's honestly the flagship version of the Xbox, unlike the PlayStation, which now has the 5 Pro, which that console is. I hardly compare it to this because even if it is slightly more powerful than the Series X, which I'm not even sure it is, honestly, it's at $700. Like, that's such a niche console. I could do a whole rant video on that, though. Getting back to the Series X, though, this is a powerful console. Before the Pro, which it might even still be more powerful than the Pro, but I'm not entirely sure. It it easily was the most powerful console, even compared to the new PlayStation 5 Slims on the market. It is as future-proofed really as you can get for a main, current gen console these days. The price tag and the tech and specs reflect that, of course, but it is a fairly decent bargain at $500 USD for what you're getting there if you're an Xbox guy and want to play on console within their ecosystem. It's a nice it's a nice console at a reasonable price, unlike the $700 PlayStation 5 Pro. Not saying the Slim is a bad price. You've already seen my review on that. It's a pretty good console itself for a slightly cheaper price at this point, especially on sale. But it's just not quite as powerful as the Series X is. But yeah, so I mean, as far as tech and specs go, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this, especially at the price point. You get 4K 120, 120 FPS gaming. You have a future-proof console for right up until the end of the lifespan of this current gen, and even into the next lifespan, which I don't see that coming anytime soon or anything. But it's just something there if you don't want to immediately upgrade to the next gen, or you can't because of fucking scalpers and stuff like that. It's definitely there, and yeah, it's great for that. It's about as future proof as you can get. You have a terabyte of storage on an SSD. It's very fast, loads very fast, games and just loading up in general, and a good amount of storage again for the money and everything, which also has, you can also obviously plug in, an external hard drive or SSD and stuff for extra storage if you need that. But obviously, it's about double the Series S, which is nice. It has a disk drive, obviously, which is nice for using watching movies stuff in Blu-ray and everything if you want, which is a capability this has. Or of course, playing physical media for the current gen, or backwards compatible in its library all the way from the original Xbox all the way up to the One and the 360, obviously. And personally speaking, that's a big deal for me because we have a lot of physical media from past gens of games we still play or like to play occasionally. So the disk drive is definitely a welcome feature. It's an internal disk drive, which is something I pointed out on the PlayStation 5, the slim version I did a review on. It is not a clamp on disk drive, not unfortunately, gladly, and doesn't require a Wi Fi connection to set up or update the disk drive in particular, of course, not a console as a whole. It doesn't require that as a separate entity essentially, which is really nice, personally speaking, because that's really just a weird and annoying feature. I'm all for giving users customization and choosing options like that. But personally, just give me a disk drive if I want one. It's nice to have it in store. I don't want to be able to take off my disk drive. I don't know why I'd ever really want that anyways. But yeah, it's nice for that. It's got that, and it's got 8K, HDR video and still images rendering, which not much stuff is ever produced in 8K, so it's kind of just a gimmicky thing. But it also kind of further displays the power of this console, all for $500, which for the $500, what you're getting in this, I don't think you'd be able to make a PC equivalent to this, probably, in most cases, and it's definitely a pretty good option for gaming, even for multimedia purposes. It's a powerful machine. It's about as future proof as you can get. So I personally think it's about as good of a console, tech spec wise, as you can ask for in this current day. Just kind of wrapping up the tech and part of it is just going over the controller. As you can see, for those of you who are familiar with Xbox and past Xboxes from the Xbox One, it's very similar to the Xbox One controller. It's the same kind of overall layout and style and design, which I think most people will find good. Most people like Xbox controllers, and they're kind of past, I guess, models of it, so they don't fix if it's not broken. Of course, there are some slight differences. The only noticeable differences really are the more matty texture of this compared to the smoother and shinier textures of the Xbox One. The grips on the back of it and on the triggers, if you can see that are kind of indented there with these dots that help you hold on and grip the controller, even with sweaty hands or anything, if you're sweating on Fortnite or something. Apart from that, there is an addition of the multimedia button right there in the middle for sharing and recording and clipping stuff. There's no raised up or center panel where the Xbox logo is. It's kind of just the uh, built into the controller there. It's not a separate indentation. And then the D-pad is the last kind of difference there, where instead of the four defined cross symbol there, it has that, but it's more of a raised up circular panel with more precise directional opportunities there with the in between, being able to use that because there is now a circular panel there, which I appreciate. Stuff you see on the Pro controllers from the Xbox One, stuff like that. And it's overall a very good controller. Again, not much of an upgrade or difference from the Xbox One, but there are slight changes and improvements to it that are much welcomed, and definitely a great controller. I stand by what I said in the PlayStation 5 review. I currently think that their DualSense controller is probably the best on the market. The haptics beat out the vibrational haptics, such as they are in the Xbox One X controller or Xbox Series S controller. But regardless, this is a tried and true model. It's probably a model you're very familiar with at this point, and is a great number two controller, and is a great overall controller. So yeah, as far as tech specs go, there, I mean, again, I listed off some stuff, showed you some stuff there. It is fantastic. It's about as good of a console, especially at the price point that you can get this current day. Next, let's go up to the design and kind of looks of the console. My thoughts on it. Again, as I said, I love the look and design of the Series X controller. I like how they're keeping it kind of in brand there, and how they're keeping it similar look for people who play on the Xbox One, not changing it too much and not changing the feel too much, because unlike Sony, they didn't really need to upgrade to something like this. Slight improvements. I think it looks nice. I think it looks sleek. What's not to like? For the again, I showed you the box. I like the box design as well. But for the console, the design and kind of layout of this, obviously, it's a big, black kind of rectangle there. But regardless, it's sleek. I like the design, regardless of people memeing on it for looking like a mini fridge. I think it looks nice personally. It's mostly just sleek, clear black on the sides. On the front of it here, you obviously have the Xbox logo, which isn't a sensor like turn on anymore. You actually have to physically push it, just like with the kind of button down here for the disk drive. Also, as a push button. There's obviously a button to sync controllers there at the bottom. That's the stand there that it stands on. And then in the back is the only thing that actually has anything on it, regardless, other than the front, with the kind of all of your different connections there that are possible. Storage, HDMI, USB connections, power connection, of course, stuff like that. And then you can obviously pop that off at the top here, but it's pretty sleek. I mean, it doesn't do too much. It doesn't have a bunch of bright lights and a bunch of gimmicks and stuff. It looks nice. I personally like the design they went with. The only other thing is you can see the green hue at the top vents here. It kind of gives it that original green and black Xbox feel, and you can actually feel it going. It looks pretty cool. I like the design of it personally. It is a little heavy, particularly for a console, and how it's kind of just oriented. It's kind of awkward to hold, especially for one hand and everything. But I like it. It's not too heavy, but it is a little heavy for a console again. It is bigger than the Series S and doesn't travel as well, obviously, given its size and shape. But it's not incredibly heavy again, and though it is bigger and heavier than the Series S, it doesn't take up as much space and tucks away a lot better than you think it would. Just because, yes, it is big, but it is mostly tall, big, not like wide or in some weird type of arrangement or shape here. As you can see, it's rather slim, honestly, when you look at the side, portfolio of it. And well, I guess all the sides are the same. It's kind of like square when you look at it from that angle, top down view there. It tucks away nicely. I've never had any problems with like finding a place to put it or moving it or anything. I like the design of it personally. I think it's pretty good. And yeah, lastly, maybe most importantly, honestly, is kind of just the support in games for the console. Honestly, because at the end of the day, it can look great, it can operate great, and it can be a great piece of technology, like I said. But a gaming console at the end of the day is to play games and to enjoy games, as well as a few other things, of course. But that's the main focus of it, and be supported by a company. Obviously, there's a lot of support for this from Microsoft and Xbox, given it's their flagship console. So updates and everything. And again, I don't think there's a next gen coming anytime soon, so you don't have to worry about that and not getting your money's worth if you buy this somewhat soon. It's going to be fine. I personally, I think it's going to be around and be the mainstay for at least another handful of years as far as consoles go. But yeah, let's go into the games and kind of support there. Obviously, kind of the one drawback and one big or lack of selling point there for Microsoft and Xbox is the exclusive battles with Sony. It's no secret that kind of one of the big selling points as far as it goes for PlayStation is their exclusives, which is becoming a little less so as they're porting more and more to PC, at least at some point eventually after its release. But regardless, it's still something that as Xbox players you don't have access to essentially, and it's always been a big drawback for Microsoft. Of course, Xbox does have stuff like Forza series if you're a big racing fan, if you're a big shooter fan. It's got Halo, even though that series hasn't exactly been in its heyday for the past number of years. Anyways, I don't want to calculate that. It does have some exclusives, and obviously, it's been buying up a lot of companies recently. But a lot of their games, even from the companies they bought up, aren't exclusive. They are games you can get not only on Xbox, but on PC and PlayStation. Which is another thing about Xbox exclusivity is even when something is Xbox exclusive, meaning essentially you can't get it on PlayStation 5 or I guess a Nintendo Switch in most cases, that's all it means. It doesn't mean it's specifically exclusive to the console itself, as virtually every game outside of maybe college football or something is what I can think of that you can get on the Xbox, you can you can get on PC because of the Microsoft connection there with between Xbox and PC. It's available on both platforms. So even the exclusives aren't really exclusive if you have a PC or a laptop capable of running those games. This is a big selling point. This is a big problem for Xbox and has been for the past this generation, the past generation of well, all these games aren't exclusive. Why don't I get a PlayStation or why don't I get a PC or both? Obviously, the PC thing is kind of a bit of a price differential. For $500, you're not necessarily going to build a PC that's at least long term in any sense going to be able to outperform or outdo the Xbox Series X. So I think in that sense it's kind of safe. If you want a cheaper alternative to PC gaming, for that's still very good and has all of your Xbox games on there, I think it's still a good selling point at this point. The whole $500 budget PC builds you see really aren't very practical or future proof or long term, and it's something you're probably gonna have to upgrade relatively soon after you get that. So it's really not there. And it's obviously a lot more casual. You don't have to upgrade this thing. You don't have to like build it yourself or anything. So it's a lot more relaxed of a thing. I've always said that's a major difference between those two systems, PC and console. It's a lot more relaxed, it's a lot more casual, it's a lot more easy to understand and play. It's kind of much more, stress free, as well as cheaper and more future proof because games specifically made for these consoles and don't really max out or break your Xbox or anything like it could a PC or anything. So that's I don't think the PC argument is as big of a deal, at least not yet. If you go to the PlayStation 5 Pro for $700, I think you're getting closer to why don't you maybe just pick up a PC, especially if a lot of those exclusives now being eventually ported to PC at some point in its lifespan, usually. But yeah, if you're just talking about just consoles, why would I buy this over PlayStation 5 when they have a long history of exclusives like The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn and that series, God of War and that series, Spider Man, and Resident Evil and stuff like that. Why would I go to Xbox? They don't have the exclusives, or they don't have the same level of exclusive, both number and quality, as PlayStation does. That's been a big problem for Xbox for a while. And I think the really big answer here is Game Pass. While PlayStation does have PlayStation Plus at the three different tiers there, of course, with its games catalog, its monthly games and stuff, Xbox Game Pass, in my opinion, is still far and away, as far as gaming subscriptions go, like that, the best deal you can get. I mean, it is fantastic. It is the best deal you can get, regardless of what version, you know, premium or not that you get it at. It offers you not only online play, of course, but a catalog of games that is incredibly extensive and incredibly good. PlayStation has a catalog of games and online play as well, but their catalogs of games isn't quite as big, and I don't think it's quite as good in most cases. It does all the extra stuff just as well as Xbox, like the discounts, the online play, having a catalog in the first place, and monthly games, of course. But it doesn't have the same quality or quantity as Xbox Game Pass does. Game Pass for whatever version, I believe it's what like somewhere from 10 to 20 or $25 a month, depending on the version, of course, gives you access to just an outstanding catalog of games, more games than you can actually play within your subscription terms. And again, with those game companies are buying up like Bethesda, like Activision Blizzard, you get access to some amazing titles on there that you don't have to buy otherwise. A big one, obviously, is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 that most people only have and are playing on console anyways because of Game Pass. A large portion of their user base is only playing that game because it is free to download and available through Game Pass. So Game Pass cannot be understated as far as how big of an impact that is in the deciding term there. Yes, Xbox doesn't have as many or the quality of first party, console exclusives, and the ones they do have are available on PC. Kind of similar to Sony now, honestly. I will admit that. But Game Pass is kind of the redeeming feature, or kind of like the counter blow to Sony's exclusives these days. So yeah, that's kind of really the question you have to ask yourself there is having a better technology speaking and spec speaking, is having a more powerful console with Game Pass and access to an ungodly amount of amazing games and a deep gaming catalog of some of the best games you could ever play. Is that better than Sony's still somewhat good and comparable console power performance, as well as their catalog of PlayStation Premium games that's not quite there, but still something that's offered, and then their system exclusives, obviously. So that's kind of the thing, the versus thing, the pros and cons that you have to kind of weigh yourself. But yeah, just reviewing the Xbox itself. Again, it's greatly designed. I think it looks nice, which might be an unpopular opinion, honestly. It's a powerful console. It's really, especially at its price point, the most powerful console and most future-proof console on the market at this point. It's got Game Pass, which you can. I mean, it's got its own exclusives as well and access to a lot of great games. And Game Pass is just an outstanding deal and outstanding service, in my opinion. That is, you won't go wrong if you pick an Xbox and you have Game Pass. It has access to just a tremendous catalog of games, both quality and quantity wise. And obviously there's a lot of functionality between PC and Microsoft accounts and stuff. If you go that route, it's a fantastic system. It's a fantastic console, and it has a lot of good support in my opinion. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the console as a whole, and giving it a pretty good review there. As for the last, going for the review to should you buy one in 2025? Again, I think you will be fine buying one in 2025 if the 2025 and buying it now shouldn't be a factor for you. I think you're just as good buying this, in 2025 coming up here soon as you would have been on day one launch. I mean, obviously you missed out on some years, I guess, but I think you won't have a problem as far as, oh, is this still good in 2025 or is there a console on the horizon? You'll be fine if you buy this in 2025. So I think it's still a good pickup, honestly, in 2025 if you want an Xbox console. It's at a good price point for what it offers, and Xbox ecosystem is still, very comparable and very competitive with PlayStation. So yeah, I think it's a solid pickup if you want one in 2025. So yeah, that kind of wraps up the whole review and impressions of the console in 2025. Out of 10, this is kind of a hard one. If you remember, I believe I gave the PlayStation 5 Slim in 2025 review a 9 out of 10. And it's kind of hard to review an Xbox and kind of give it a comparable score there because it's a more powerful console, so you just give it a 10 out of 10 off of that. But PlayStation exclusives or the Game Pass, there's a lot of factors that kind of weigh into the kind of thing. I think there's pros and cons of both. I probably will do a comparison video at some point. There's the Portal and the PlayStation VR 2 for that, and there's not really much for the Xbox Series X, and there's a lot of considered factors here. I think it really comes down to personal preference as far as the comparison goes there, and what you're looking for, and what type of games you're looking for, and what type of performance from your console you're looking for. That's really the determining factor at what price point, of course, that you're really weighing in here. So through 0 through 10, for the review of the Xbox Series X in 2025. Again, it's a hard review, but I think I'm going to give the Xbox Series X the same score as the PlayStation 5 Slim with the 9 out of 10. I know it's a more powerful console, so on that alone, maybe it should be 10 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10. But I think it's a great console. I think it's a great console. I think it's a great ecosystem with a good support cast of games and Game Pass. It's very comparable to PlayStation and their ecosystem and stuff. A 9, 8.5, maybe slightly. I might have to yield to PlayStation 5 this generation. Anywhere from an 8 to a 9. It is still a very comparable console if that's what you're looking for and you want to play with Xbox. It's still a great choice. It's a great device. It's a great console. And anywhere from an 8 to a 9 is a very reasonable score for this thing. And I think it's still a very good option for you in 2025 if you want to pick one up. So yeah, that kind of wraps up the whole video and the review here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on my review of it and what you think about the Xbox Series X or any questions you have. Remember to like and subscribe. Obviously, your views are very appreciated. But if you enjoy what you see here from this video or my channel as a whole, definitely like and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. It's very much appreciated. And I can't thank you guys enough for the viewership and support you guys have been showing since I'm back. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy New Year's to everybody in a little bit here. Peace.